Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Right People, Right Places podcast. I'm your host, Raul Mendoza, and we are here at the Chicago Build Expo. We're just keeping the conversation going one after another, talking to some great leaders that are doing big things in the construction and design space. And I have the absolute pleasure of having Lisa Laws here on the set. And we've got some exciting things that we're going to get into, that we're going to talk about. Just to give you some background on Lisa, she's the vice president at Jacobs, where she leads operations, market growth across Chicago's transportation, water, and building sectors. She's a visionary leader, transforming cities through infrastructure and innovation. She's been on a couple different stages here, sharing her wisdom, her knowledge. So we're very privileged to have her. She's making sure progress is built not just with technology, but with purpose and inclusion at the foundation. So she is a door opener. She's making things happen that way, but she's also paving the way for others, especially the younger generation. We're going to get into that. We're going to have her share about that. So we're going to be building the next generation of innovators in STEM, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So again, Lisa, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome. Thank you so much.
For sure. Well, let's kick into your story. Let's hear a little bit about how you got into the construction and design space.
Yeah.
What drew you? Was it something in your childhood? Was it something in high school? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in the city of Chicago, like in the city on the south side of Chicago. And, you know, I'm been around these skyscrapers my entire life. And I was really into art originally as a child, and I thought that I was going to be an artist, a painter. And then my mom sat me down very early in life, was like, you're not going to be living with me when you're 50 years old, so you need to find something else to do. And so I decided to get into architecture. And I stuck with architecture up until my senior year in high school. But in my senior year of high school, I was also in AP physics, AP calculus, all the math, all the science. And my AP physics teacher said, you want to be an architect? Why? And I said, well, I want to design skyscrapers.
Why?
Yeah, why? He was like, I want to design skyscrapers. And he said, well, you don't want to be an architect. You want to be an engineer. And I just said, okay. And that's how I ended up going into engineering. I started my journey at Xavier University in Louisiana. It's a HBCU in New Orleans.
Great.
And I double majored in physics and math.
Wow.
And got 2 degrees in those. And then I went on to Tulane University, where I double majored in civil engineering and architecture, just to prove to myself that I didn't want to be an architect. And I was right. I didn't want to be an architect. And so I did a lot of things during my collegiate life. I did my research in seismic structural engineering. So, you know, figuring out how to keep buildings up during earthquakes and so forth.
Amazing.
And I was an evacuee for Hurricane Katrina. So I spent some time in Houston.
Amazing.
I'm dating myself, but yeah, I was an undergrad then. And, you know, when I came back, I kind of had a different understanding of what engineering was and how not only the public, but also the government's hands were into it. And, you know, it wasn't just about science and about design and making things cool and pretty. And then I also noticed along the way the huge gap between, you know, women and men, obviously in the engineering world, but also women of color. I was the only African-American woman in my engineering class at Tulane. So I'm like, oh, this has got to change, right? I got to figure something out.
Blazing all kinds of trails.
Okay, seriously. So I had an opportunity with a different construction company. They came to our class and said, we're going to hire your entire class to start our top secret construction division.
Wow.
But it won't be ready for 5 years, and you'll have to move around the country until then. Sounded cool until they put me in Anchorage, Alaska. My mom was like, oh, absolutely not. You got to figure something else out. And so I learned about a bridge that was going to be built in Chicago, which was a hybrid cable stay and a post-tension bridge in the city of Chicago, first ever in the region. And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds freaking cool. Let me go to that company and figure out how I can make my way in. And so I started my career at McHugh Construction.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, again, the only African-American woman in the infrastructure department, but got to work on like the most insane project in the city of Chicago at the time. I've got a bridge just south of here, and then I've done a lot of different jobs around the city of Chicago. So it's I tell the kids when I speak to children that I did all these things for swag reasons only. Like I did it to say that I did it, but also I can point to it and say I did. I built that as mine.
That's right.
Yeah. So I spent all that money and to get my education, and I wasn't really using it, so I decided to go to URS, which is now AECOM.
Okay.
I was co-op there when I was at Tulane, and so I got to design a whole bunch of crazy things with the airport. I did a extension for the trans system at the airport, and also the first ever cut and cover tunnels that have like airplanes landing on top and cars going under. So yeah,
Fascinating.
good times, right? Such good times.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey. What a journey.
Oh.
Thanks so much for sharing that. That's fantastic. I could tell the passion there and the work that you're doing. I mean, as soon as you start talking about bridges, it's like, you got me excited about bridges. I want to go build a bridge now, I mean, I kind of build bridges. I build bridges between companies and talent, but
Love that.
I mean, what you're doing, I think I want to do it now.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, let's keep going with that. Just this issue of innovation. Well, let's go back. I want to hear about your leadership approach.
Yeah.
So, you've just described yourself as a value, everything that you're sharing, it's just dripping with values. You connect people, you're an innovator, you're on purpose, and I just want to know, how has that mindset shaped your leadership approach across both public and private sectors?
Yeah. So I am a proud graduate of also Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management, and
My goodness.
I know.
Can I have one of your degrees?
I went to grad school at IIT too. Like I got too many going on.
That
But our
mindset.
tagline is high impact, low ego. And that's basically the way I lead, right? So yes, I've done all those things, but I'm not coming in the room and just screaming like, oh, I know everything about the subject matter. I come in, I want to learn from you. If I have a new team, I want to learn where you're from, what makes you tick, what you're interested in doing long term, because right now is nothing, right? It's all about what's the next step. And like you mentioned before, I'm really interested in propelling the next generation forward because I'm trying to retire soon. And so I can't be doing all this work on my own. And
got to get that knowledge out to the next
seriously. Yeah, so I do a lot of community service. I teach with nonprofit organizations like Project Sincere, National Society of Black Engineers, Project Exploration, and just engaging with kids, having them realize that there is a way to meet an African-American woman engineer who has actually built things that you can see in your own city.
Amazing.
And so that's how I bring every mindset to every team that I've ever run. What are you about? Not the work. What are you about? What makes you tick? And how would you like to communicate with me?
Yeah.
And try to make the team as efficient as possible.
I love it. Let's keep going on that with opening doors for the next generation. Again, we talked about the title of this episode being opening doors, and what does that phrase mean to you when it comes to creating opportunities for the next generation and innovators? What does that look like on the ground?
Yeah, I think to me it looks like seeing the folks in the room that usually aren't seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I talked about this in the panel yesterday.
Yeah.
Whenever I enter a new room, I always look for the other African American women in the room. Like, oh man, there's 3 of us here. Okay, cool. Let me reach out to them and see what they need, how I can be helpful to them. Because someone did that to me.
Amazing.
I didn't know I could do all these things. And I mean, I don't say no to anything.
Yeah.
But it's about teaching the next generation to not say no to everything.
That's good.
And teach them to get out there and bringing them along with you on client meetings. We're going to all these external meetings, the luncheons and so forth. Getting them acclimated to talking to strangers, which is really difficult for this generation.
Yeah, very, very much on social media.
Yes.
You gotta learn how to talk to people.
Right.
Yeah.
And then find out little tidbits of information that other people might not know, like their cat's name, or you guys have the same breed of dog, or you guys both love going to Alabama randomly. Things like that. Those are the things that people remember about you. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she remembered that about me.
Yes.
And so that creates the network, and that creates the visibility for the next role, next generation. And then they'll reach back and say, oh, I remember her. She remember my cat's name. I got to holler at her about the new job I got. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that. How can companies like Jacobs and other industry leaders make STEM fields more accessible to underrepresented groups, especially women and people of color?
Yeah, I'll say unfortunately right now we're on a pause, right?
Yeah.
Because we're being targeted for the all the work that we are doing in underrepresented areas. But just you talked about accessibility.
Yeah.
Accessibility can mean several different things. It's not just having the bus to get to the office, to see what we're doing.
Yep.
It's about getting the engineers out into the neighborhoods to do hands-on activities with these children, to say like, oh, you want to build this drone? You can do that, but guess what? You can do that for the rest of your life if you go to this engineering school and get this degree, and you can do all these other things,
Right.
And so another organization that I love is STEM NOLA, which does the exact same thing in New Orleans, like statewide.
Cool.
So they bring on hands-on activities and ensure that the kids are learning what we do every day for a living.
I love it. I love it. Great stuff. Well, I think you've touched on this a little bit already, but we've talked about mentorship and leadership.
Yep.
What advice would you give to young professionals, especially women in STEM, who are stepping into spaces where they may be the first and the only? And you've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add to that.
Find somebody that you want to be like.
Yep.
And reach out to them and get them to be on your team.
Yep.
They may not want to be your mentor per se, but they want to be on your board of directors, which is completely different from being a mentor. And it doesn't have to be someone who looks like you or the same gender or anything like that. Most of my mentors are men. And I think only one of them is African American. So, I mean,
That's awesome.
Right. Because I want to do what they're doing. I don't want to, I may be the first ever, but it's not like it hasn't been done before, and I can take it to the next level.
Totally. I love that. I love what you just said, because at the end of the day, ethnicity, color, gender, you know what? Great.
Yeah.
But we want to learn from the best.
That's right.
And we want to become great craftsmen, and craftswomen.
Yes.
So, and I love that even though you're creating opportunities and blazing trails, it's not like you're saying, well, I'm not going to learn from, it's not personal, right? It's about learning the skill. And I love that you're receiving from anyone.
Anyone I see like, oh yeah, I want to do what he's doing, I'm going to go holler at him.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to ask questions. And
that's right.
So that's fantastic. So good. Well, in providing a closing remark here as we kind of wrap up the podcast here, how do you hope your legacy as an engineer, an executive, and a mentor continues to inspire the next generation of STEM leaders?
I just want to be a part of the conversation. I want to be in there. Like, oh, right. Remember,
just in the mix.
Remember when we met Lisa Laws, or like, remember we saw that thing with Lisa Laws on it? Like, I just want to be a part of the conversation. And mostly I just want to ensure that my impact is felt via, I don't know, this podcast, via some other, some people who, from the next generation who I've pulled forward, who have then paid it forward.
Totally.
And so I just want to see my numbers multiply. I want that ROI to going up, and ensure that my legacy continues.
Fantastic. Well, I love it. I mean, you definitely got me excited about a lot of different things with construction. And I know that our viewers here are going to get so much from it. They're going to be inspired. And I catch that passion, that energy. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And to our viewers, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We actually are on YouTube. You can subscribe there and you can see episodes just like this, and from other leaders, and also Lisa, who are doing big things in the space. And also you can get us wherever you get podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, and all those channels. And if you want to talk to Lisa, you want to reach out to her, you can find her on LinkedIn, and she'll connect with you and she'll share more of her passion.
Yeah, holla at your girl.
Thanks for having us.